President Trump right now is getting set to lay a wreath at the Pentagon. Of course, it's also the 24th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks. The president will be then going to the Bronx. He'll be at the New York Yankees game tonight. And it was the New York Yankees last night who actually held a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated yesterday at the age of 31. And the president addressed the nation last night, a 4-minute video that he put up on social media. And the most powerful part of what the president had to say last night was this.
Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
That President Trump last night. And he's exactly right about what Charlie Kirk's mission was and how he made his name. And it was being the guy who would go to places that other people wouldn't go and engage in these debates. Frankly, conservatives hadn't gone in decades. And I just saw this video pop up on my social media feed. I'm sure many of you are seeing videos just in your algorithms of Charlie Kirk on your social media feeds last night and this morning. And the one I just saw is a quintessential example of what Charlie Kirk was all about. It's a young woman who walks up to the microphone because he would host these debates on these college campuses where he'd be sitting in a chair under a tent. And basically it was just like open mic night. Walk up and ask your question and have a good faith debate, and then the next person would go. And this young woman walks up to the microphone, and she has a shirt on. And the shirt says, F. Charlie Kirk, spelled out. And to his credit, he smiles. He looks at this woman, and he says, nice shirt. He makes a joke about, making some money off of the licensing of his name. And then he goes on to say, I think I'm on to something when you are down to basically cursing me out. I think I might be, over the target here a little bit when you have broken down your argument to cursing me out. And that's how he was so effective. And he did it with a twinkle in his eye. He wasn't mad. He wasn't one of these I'm going to be outraged 24/7. I can't find a video of Charlie being outraged. Genuinely outraged and really mad. That's not who he was. And for all the talk about our political discourse, Charlie Kirk was a shining light amidst a dark and demented political discourse that too many have engaged in this country on both sides of the aisle. That was not Charlie Kirk. Despite what some of the haters, despite what some of those who may have disagreed with him portrayed him to be, he wasn't that. You can't find that video. It doesn't exist. This guy was all about going out there and trying to change hearts and minds, and then, yes, using modern technology like social media to expand his message. That's what he was doing. And it was making inroads with Gen Z in particular, and also younger millennials all around the country. And it was working. And then yesterday, he gets tragically assassinated. And Kate and I were sitting last night talking about this. And we both were beside ourselves. We both were disgusted, anger mixed with sadness, but mostly sadness. I haven't really felt anger over the last 18 hours or so. It's just mostly been shock and disbelief and then immense sadness for a 31-year-old man who had such a bright future still ahead of him, who had made such an impact on the lives of millions, and who, most importantly, did not get to go home to his wife and his 2 children because of his words, because of his free speech. A staple of what America is built on, his speech, is what got him killed. And we've all done it, whether you're a husband, a wife, a father, a mother. You're leaving for the office this morning. Maybe you walk your kids to the bus, you kiss your spouse, you say, I'll see you later. You don't think anything of it. We all do that every single day. I don't see my kids in the morning, obviously, because of when I wake up, but, say goodnight before bed, give them a big hug and a kiss, and you just figure you'll see them the next day. And as we sit here 24 years after the September 11th attacks and the day after Charlie Kirk's assassination, we have to always remember that none of this is a given. And it's very difficult to do because we all take it for granted. You don't live your life thinking like today's the last. No one does that. But for Charlie Kirk, when he got on a plane, went to Utah, and figured he was doing something he had done dozens, if not hundreds of times in his life, he didn't sit there and say, is this the last time I'm seeing my wife? Is this the last time I'm seeing my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old? Because you can't live that way. But as I was coaching soccer last night, it was the most normal part of my day since that news broke. And it was great because I needed that sense of normalcy. And if you have something like that going on today, if you're listening right now and you're like, oh man, I got to go do this, I got to do that, go do it. Go do normal things today. You have to. You can't let this stuff stew inside. You can't sit there and just think about it. Let it be on your mind. Obviously, pray for Charlie, his family, those who 24 years later are mourning the loss of loved ones on September 11th. But you also have to go live your life. And I genuinely believe, not that I knew Charlie personally, but I genuinely believe that's what he would want you to do today. And for me, that was the fastest hour of my day yesterday. We started this first and second grade girls soccer practice at 5:30. And we just did a bunch of drills. I forgot the pennies yesterday, so we couldn't scrimmage. I was like, dang it, there was so much going on yesterday. I forgot the pennies. So I'm like, all right, we can't scrimmage today. We've got to keep it going and just do drills. And I was like, this is going to be a long practice. You try 6- and 7-year-old girls just doing drills for an hour. It flew by. I couldn't believe it. And it was because it was normal. It was because for that 60-minute stretch, I was trying to teach 6- and 7-year-olds how to play goalie, how to dribble a soccer ball. And when I got done and we were walking to the car, I had that moment where I thought to myself, Charlie Kirk is never going to be able to do this. He will never be able to know the joy of coaching a child in any sport, soccer, basketball, football. He'll never see his kids do any of this. He'll never get to have those ultimate joys in life. And while Charlie's legacy is obviously what he did politically and what he was an activist for and his organization Turning Point USA, he'll be the first one to tell you that what he was most proud of in his own life was obviously his 2 children, 3 and 1, and his wife. And the fact that this man had all that joy that was still to come in his life, because they are the most joyous moments in your life. I mean, I'll tell you firsthand. Yesterday, I don't usually get into this, but we had these ratings that come out in radio, and they were all time for this radio station and for this show. I won't brag about getting into the details, but just know that this show and this station has never been more listened to than it is right now. And it is right up there with any show and any station in Kansas City, especially in this time slot and also in Kevin's time slot. And it was amazing, and it felt great. But you know what the best part of my day was yesterday? It wasn't that. It was giving a bottle to an 18-month-old, reading her Goodnight Moon, and having her fall asleep on your shoulder. That was the best part of my day. Because all this other stuff comes and goes. It does. There'll be a time when less people listen. There'll be times when more people listen. And we are incredibly proud of what we've done here with the show and the radio station, and it's been absolutely amazing. But that was not even close to the best part of my day. The second best part of my day was watching my oldest enjoy running around a soccer field and smiling. Because that's what matters. And that's what Charlie would want to be defined by. His ability to be a great husband and a great father, as much as he would be the first one to call himself a sinner. He did his best in those jobs. While he was amazing debating people. And this morning I saw his first ever interview on Fox News when he was like so it was 2012. So he's 18 years old. His ability to speak coherently on national television at 18 years old is amazing when you watch it back. Fox and Friends played it very early this morning. That's a God-given talent. We all get better at this the more of this we do, but Charlie, to do what he was doing on TV and expressing himself the way he did it at that age, that's not taught. That's all God-given. And he was amazing at that. But he would be the first one to tell you that is not what defined him. And what we can do is continue to live on his legacy, embrace honest, good faith debates and conversations, and understand that violence is never the answer. 913-408-7957. It's 8:18 on a Thursday morning on KCMO Talk Radio. We'll get to much more of you. We'll still do the Ask Mundo Anything segment at the end of this hour. Whatever's on your mind, I will answer your questions at about 8:45 this morning on KCMO.